know how people always say money can't buy happiness?
Right.
It's like one of those sayings everyone just throws around.
Yeah.
But, I've always kind of wondered, does it buy like something close to happiness?
Yeah. Does it buy you less sadness, I guess?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today we're going to do a deep dive into that whole idea, like the relationship between money and our everyday emotions.
Interesting.
So for all of you listeners out there who, like to get right to the heart of the matter.
Right to the good stuff.
Yeah, we've got some really interesting research to dig into today.
Absolutely.
So to start us off, we're looking at this huge study from the U.S. called the American Time Use Survey.
Yeah, this is a really cool one.
And what I think is so interesting about this study is that it goes beyond, just asking people about their overall satisfaction with life.
Yeah.
It actually looks at how money is connected to the specific happiness and sadness that people experience, day to day.
Yeah, like in the moment.
Right.
Really interesting.
So it's like a much more granular look at how money affects us. Absolutely.
And this survey involved over 12,000 people across a whole range of income levels. So from under $5,000 annually all the way up to over $150,000.
Wow.
Pretty big spread.
Huge. Yeah.
So the way they did it was they had people recall their previous day and then report how they were feeling at 3 random points throughout that day.
Interesting.
So they would basically just check in with themselves like, okay, at this moment, how happy am I? How sad am I? So the main questions we're really trying to answer here are, does having more money mean you're going to feel happier day to day? And does it also mean you're going to feel less sad each day?
Right. And are those two things the same or are they different?
Exactly. So that's what we're going to try to unpack.
I'm excited.
Okay, so the way they collected the data, this is actually super important because it lets us see the real-time effects of income on people's emotions.
Yeah, you get a much clearer picture of the impact it has.
Okay, so are you ready for some of the findings?
Okay, so this is what I thought was super interesting. The data showed a very clear link between higher income and people feeling less sad on a daily basis.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right. It kind of seems intuitive. Like if you have fewer money worries.
You're probably going to have fewer daily frustrations, right?
Exactly. You're not constantly stressed about bills or, unexpected expenses. But here's the thing that I thought was really surprising. When they looked at daily happiness, there was no significant relationship with higher income.
Wow.
So it seems like more money might help protect you from feeling sad each day.
Interesting.
Like it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to feel happier each day.
So the two aren't directly linked.
Right. And you would almost think like whatever affects one would affect the other in the same way.
Yeah, you'd assume they'd go together.
But the research suggests that's not the case.
Huh. Fascinating.
What's even more interesting is that these patterns stayed consistent even when the researchers took into account all sorts of other factors.
Oh, yeah.
Like age and gender, education level, job status, whether people had kids, how they spent their time, even their general stress levels.
So it wasn't just that wealthier people had more free time or less stressful jobs that was making them less sad.
Exactly. It seems like income itself plays a specific role in how we experience negative emotions.
I wonder what that is.
So I know you've looked at this research really closely. What are some of the possible explanations for why this might be?
Well, one theory is that money basically acts like a buffer against all the bad stuff that life throws at you.
Oh, that makes sense.
If your car suddenly breaks down.
Right. Or your washing machine explodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Having more money gives you the power to fix those problems quickly and without as much stress.
And you don't have to worry about, how am I going to afford this?
Exactly. It gives you that sense of control over those situations.
Which I guess could help reduce those feelings of sadness.
Right, because you're not as overwhelmed.
Okay, that makes sense for the downside. But why wouldn't that same financial security boost the good times as well?
Well, the idea is that maybe for people who are already financially comfortable, those everyday pleasures just don't have as much of an impact.
Like they don't register as strongly.
Exactly. So if you're used to a certain level of comfort and you have that financial security, a small treat or, just a nice moment might not feel like this huge boost to your happiness.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's almost like you have a higher baseline of happiness.
Maybe.
So it takes more to actually move the needle.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
So to sum it all up, it seems like the main takeaway from this deep dive is that money is much more strongly connected to reducing those daily feelings of sadness than it is to actually increasing your daily happiness.
Right.
Like maybe money can't really buy you more joy each day, but it can definitely make those bad days feel a little less bad.
Exactly, like it takes the edge off.
I like that it takes the edge off.
Yeah.
So for everyone listening out there, think about what this means for you. If the biggest benefit of having financial security is actually reducing those negative emotions.
Like the stress and the sadness and all that.
Exactly. How does that change the way we think about, pursuing well-being in general?
Yeah.
Should we be focusing less on just trying to be happy all the time and maybe more on building that financial stability so we can, weather those storms a little bit easier?
That's a great point.
Something to ponder.
For sure.
Well, thanks for diving into this with me today. This is really thought-provoking.
Yeah, this is great.
I always love chatting with you.
Likewise.
All right, until next time.
See ya.
Bye.